Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Bennington Made. This is where we partner with Cat TV, and I'm Matt from the Chamber. We partner together to showcase the best of what Bennington is making in this day and age right here, right in Bennington, Vermont. Today we're going to go right inside the Porta brace. They make those iconic bags for television, radio, all sorts of things. They're the carrying bags for cameras. Probably the camera that we're actually shooting on today is brought here with a Porta brace bag. We're excited to get a sneak peek and exclusive of what Porta brace is working on and how it's made right here in Bennington, Vermont. Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Matt with Bennington Made. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get started here in Porta brace? You're leading us on our tour today.
I started out sewing, and I ended up working in design and with the design team. I assist them and help design some products. And now I do the marketing and photography for the company.
Cool. You ready to go give us a tour?
Sure.
Great.
So this is where it all starts. This is our camera model database. We actually get the cameras in from the manufacturer, and our craftsmen here make a wooden model of the camera so that as our bags are made in the future, we can test the fit of each case on each one. Some excellent craftsmanship from our employees here. These are not easy to make and to get accurate. So this is the design department. Things start out on concepts, paper. They get a rough working blueprint of the case. Once it's been finalized, they get stamped onto these hard plastics. They're hand drawn and hand cut, and some cases have 30, 40 pieces to them. Yeah. They're all labeled, marked, and from there the patterns go downstairs to where they're cut and the assembly begins. They stack up about 20, 30 pieces at a time, draw out the patterns on the part, and then cut them. And then each piece will have the specific marks that it needs for the guides and the other parts and pieces. So the top one gets drawn out and marked, but then each individual piece needs to be marked. All the patterns that get made that we saw coming out of design get digitized so that there's a computer version of the pattern as well as a physical version. And they can actually just lay out a big sheet of material and it would cut every piece in the pattern if it was the same type of material. So as they're cutting the pieces and for filling the orders, they're getting the trays ready that are eventually going to end up upstairs for cutting. Here's our racks of patterns. I believe we're getting close to having about 1,000 different items that we're currently producing. We got several different pieces of material. Each piece is going to be on its own string just to keep it all separate, as well as the main case and any marks or cutouts that they need to know to cut. Some marks go on one side of the fabric, some go on the other. So we try to indicate as best as possible everything that's going on with it. The different frames that go into the cases are cut and assembled here. Here's an example of a frame. This is going to actually become a wheeled case. This will get an axle on it. Okay. The majority of our cases now use removable wheels. So when they're traveling, if they need to carry it, put it in a compartment type of thing, they can just pull the wheels off. A lot of times this will get lined with other types of foam and protection. And they're all glued, cut, and so on. A lot of these we've actually like stood on them and so on. We've really tested out the strength of the material. This is some of the foam we use. This is the skin foam, and it's a nice thick foam with a harder outer shell. And this is one of the newer things we've been using to innovate the product.
Nice.
This softer material here, we line a lot of the cases with that to give a nice cushion on the camera without scratching and that type of stuff. These are all cases ready to be sewn, coming down the line. All the cases are hand sewn together. Variety of materials that they work with, from extra padding to plastic clips. There's also different types of foam that they put into the cases. It's some pretty heavy-duty work, and these heavy-duty machines are required to be able to handle that level of craftsmanship. Here's an example of the beginning of an audio case. It's a padded type of material. They bind the edges on that machine over there. That is one of the more difficult sewing techniques to get it nice and clean. And this will basically end up being like this, where the unit sits in, and they actually will wear it with a strap or a handle type of thing. Here's the sewer's sample of the case.
Okay.
They actually use a tan thread so the sewers can see where all the stitching is, even though we stitched the final version in black, so that it's not noticeable. But this is a typical audio case. It Velcros together, has side inputs for all the wires to come out, and you would hold a multitude of receivers and equipment in there. Also a zip-on cover that would go over the top. Yep. Bridget here is working on sewing up a custom case that we do for JVC Audio. It gets their signature embroidery on it, and their special color set too, which they prefer red and black. We do a variety of custom colors and fabric. Traditionally, Porta brace is navy blue or black and orange. One interesting thing for the company that was a game changer was putting the instructions for the sewing equipment on the iPads. We use a Dropbox system to put all the sewing instructions on them, and it lists all your parts and then how they're all going to go together, basically, in a step-by-step instructions. This is our sample room, and it's a sample of every case that's in production at the moment. They mark them all up with notes. Some of them, the more modern ones, we're using the tan thread now, which stands out. Some of the older ones were just the manufactured versions of the case. Audio cases. This is one of those audio covers for the smaller units. We get into CBAs, which are camera body armor. It wraps around the camera while in use, gives it a little padding and protection. A lot of them also have a pull-out rain cover that will cover the camera in case it starts to rain. A lot of the stuff is in pieces and parts because it's easier for the sewers to look inside the case rather than when they're fully together. All these cases hanging up actually get plastic frames that get put in them, but they're taken out for the sewers so they can see what the interiors and so on are. This is Lynn. She does all sorts of things here, but her specialty is running the embroidery machine. So the custom embroideries, I'll get them digitized on the computer, bring them down to Lynn, and she'll run them. Here's an example of one. This was a sample. We figure out how long they take to run and the colors, and catalog all that to keep track for future orders and so on. This is our removable wheel system. It's an axle, and then the wheels basically slide in, and there's a little release, and it comes out, and it goes underneath this flap, so it's protected. It's got a hard piece of plastic over it.
Get a nice clean finish on it.
This case is for carrying high-end tripods around. We put this plastic piping in the top, makes it open up nice, and then it's a nice protection while it's in there. They can also use these for different lighting gear, any sort of stabilization equipment. Everything's assembled into the case. The flaps fold in. Any extra foam or protection gets added in. They actually attach adhesive Velcro to the sidewalls, and everything comes and wraps around in, type of thing. And this is going to be a wheeled case as well, WPC.
Yep.
Yep. Some of the cameras that go in these cases are very valuable.
Sure.
So we want to give them the best protection we can. This is one of the assembly areas. So this is one of our more popular cases, our CS carrying case. It's just your traditional carry bag with nice foam in it. Gets the hard skin foam sidewalls, so you got some good protection in there. And these are basically assembled into the case. They slide the foam in, and then they got to turn the bag. The construction and the quality of the cases, we've had pictures of cases that are 20, 30 years old. Amazing. That are still holding up. That basically takes us to shipping. So here's shipping, all the finished goods that are ready to go out the door. These are tripod mummy cases. We've done some military work, custom colors and so on. One of the new things we're doing is the line of tan cases.
Great.
Reach other customers. We've done stuff for the medical industry. We had a MetaBrace line for EMTs, and fire. We've done some fire bags. Another type of case we make is a polar cover. People shooting in Arctic temperatures below zero. They'll actually, it's an insulated material, and all the hand openings have like a fleece in them, as well as we put pockets in here to put heat packs in to keep the whole area warm. Our video vests, a lot of camera guys like these, just keep all their odds and ends in them and that type of stuff.
Could fit you with that mic.
This is a large version of one of our finished audio cases. So like some of the equipment we saw upstairs, they pack into this. They'll wear a harness and clip it on. Sometimes it's holding up to 60 pounds and probably $30,000 worth of equipment. Wow. So it's nice and rugged. It's got a U-frame in it, and they need a lot of access. So they've got the zippered sides open up, and they can run their cables and their microphones and everything in a variety of different ways. We found no two of them want to do it the same way. Yeah. So it becomes difficult from a design standpoint, and we've actually worked with an audio person that's out in LA that gives us feedback and helps test our products out. He's worked close with the company to help innovate several products. In the industry, I've heard from several people that Porta brace really has a good reputation for their quality. That's why people buy it. They want something that's well made and that's going to last.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Bennington Made. We just learned how Porta Brace makes their bags right here in Bennington, Vermont. Make sure you stay tuned and join us for the next episode.